Good evening. My name is John Massey. I am the chairman of the Recreation Commission, and I am the guy in the Kevlar suit. I have been for the last couple of weeks. First of all, thank you all for coming. I made a comment a few weeks ago at our special meeting that it's good to see people take this approach and become active in the town. I did mention that if you look at the pie graph for the budget, recreation sits at 0%. That means we're less than 1% of the budget is for recreation. And you look at all the people that are here tonight. You know, not only can we have a town meeting, we can probably have an election. You know, I dare say that there are words that you go to a board of education meeting, or you may go to a budget meeting, or you may go to a board of selectmen meeting, or some recreation meetings. You probably won't find as many people. And volunteerism in this town is absolutely tremendous, as by the showing of the people that are here. I've been in town 20 years, and I volunteered for 19 of those years. And it's a worthwhile experience. You get to meet a lot of townspeople. This meeting is important, and what it's about is it's about the rules and regulations of the town parks. That's all this meeting is about. We are going to discuss after the public comment. We're going to discuss the revised rules and regulations, which we'll give you a copy of, so you can read while the commission discusses them. That will not be open for public comment. That will be between the commission to discuss them. 3 members of the commission met for a number of hours and came up with these, and they've already been presented to them and to First Selectman Jarrett, and have been read, and they may comment on it. What we'd like to do tonight is we'd like to review them with us, change them if we need to. We'd like them to become part of the permanent record tonight, because what we have right now is really outdated rules and regulations. They are very outdated. Back to 1987. What we've done is we've updated them to today, to 2012. And we think that's a benefit to the town. So that does not mean that they can't be changed, they can't be tweaked. It doesn't mean that. All it means is that we want to get something in force as soon as possible so that we can move on. There's been a lot of emails going back and forth that there's not going to be any more farmers market, there's not going to be any more Harvard Day, that, you know, youth sports is going to be decimated. Couldn't be farther from the truth. Couldn't be farther from the truth. That's not going to happen. Those things are all going to happen, and with the revised rules and regulations, Hartford Day is going to happen. Big Wheels is going to happen. All those things are going to happen. Before we get into the public comment, I'll give you the rules on that for a second. Just a personal comment. I was in a parking lot a few weeks ago, and I walked by a car that had a bumper sticker on it. and it had a politician's name at the top. And underneath it, it said, "Why stupid people shouldn't vote." And who the politician is doesn't make any difference. I mean, you can put anybody's name on there. Well, you can't exclude it. You could put anybody's name on that, and somebody would believe that. And I thought at the time, I said, you know, what an arrogant, ignorant person. Why would you not want people to vote? That's what the country's made of. You know, it's a democracy. Then as I'm driving out of the driveway, I thought to myself, and I said, I'm the ignorant, arrogant person. I thought that that person was totally wrong in what that bumper sticker read. And the reason why I think I'm wrong is because that person, whether he's right or whether he's wrong, or whether she's right or she's wrong, they have a right to freedom of speech. They have a right to say what they want. They have a right to believe what they want. And it's for me to question them only because I may or may not have a different belief. And what's happened over the last 2 or 3 weeks, we have people that believe in one thing, people that believe in another thing. It's just the way the country is. If it wasn't that way, we'd be living under a dictator, and that's not the right way to go, obviously. So I just want to impress upon you that it's okay to believe in different things, but you all need to come together as a community to get this thing right and to do the best we can and work together to solve whatever problems we have. It's kind of that simple. I'll try not to make it that simple, but it really is. It really is simple. There's a bunch of good people in this room, and it can happen. You know, there are some disputes. As far as I can tell you, they're not major disputes. My daughter worked for 9 months as an intern for a nonprofit organization that delivered a water filtration system to Africa. And she was there for 10 days about 2 weeks ago. And she came home, she got off the plane, she called me, and her first comment was, "Dad, Americans are spoiled. Americans generally are spoiled. If you could have seen what I saw in Africa in these villages, and I'm just looking at a bottle of water and just with sheer joy in her eyes, and we're discussing a situation that happens to be the nicest piece of property in all of Northwest Connecticut. And it can be used by everybody. And it's a very simple thing, and I think this thing can work. So, those are my comments. I would expect that this is going to be an organized meeting. You know, the Recreation Commission and the First Selectman's Office have had many conversations going back and forth, tweaking these things as best we can. Are they finalized? We'd like to finalize tonight. Are they finished forever? No, they're not. But what we'd like to do is we'd like to hear from you folks. This is not going to be a Q&A. If it's a Q&A, 95% of you people will not be able to say anything. What we'd like to do so we can hear as many people as possible. The number of groups that are in here, for example, there's probably Friends of Brodie Park, Friends of Brodie Park South, youth sports, dog walkers, bird watchers, concerned citizens. There's probably all of those people in here. We want to make it as fair as possible so that if there's 25 of one group, if you want 2 or 3 people to make statements, just to summarize your group, that would be fine. If you all want to speak, we're limiting it to 30 minutes. And by the way, the clock hasn't started yet. We're limited to 30 minutes. If everybody wants to speak, you're going to get about 25 seconds, maybe even less than that. So I'm kind of going to leave it open like that, if it's okay with you folks. Obviously, there's a lot of red, which is youth sports, football. You know, if 2 or 3 of you want to express your comments, your concerns. If there's Brodie Park South people, Brodie Park, Friends of Brodie Park, concerned citizens. I'd like to do it that way, but I'd like to be fair so that every group gets a chance. Now, whatever you say, I can almost guarantee you we've heard it. We've got so many emails and phone calls, which is fine. It's all part of the community. It's all part of the process. But I can tell you one thing: in every single email, there was a common denominator, and the common denominator was everybody wants to do what's in the best interest of the town. Every single email had that in there. So, you know, I commend you all for it. Those of you that sent us emails, I appreciate you taking the time to do that and to you know, be sure that you put the town ahead of any specific purpose that you have. At least I hope. Now, if your group's kind of, if you're all together or separated, you know, if you want to designate some person, or Christy can take your names down, or somebody else can write your name down. Yeah. Yeah, and identify yourself if you would, just so we can have it for the minutes. And we will keep track, and if we should move you along, if you get on a roll and we tend to stop you, it's only because we want other people to speak as well.
Before we go.
Yep.
The thing that I thank everybody for coming here tonight. The thing that I want to say before we get started is that no municipal document is a perfect document. I think we learned that a few weeks ago. The beauty of the process is that for whatever reason we've realized that changes need to be made, and people are here, and we have now a better document, a document that I think is closer to working for everybody in this town. As we go through it and you listen to everybody discuss everything, will it be perfect? Of course it won't be perfect. We have, you know, John and I have our notes on the side about possible different ways to word it, because as always, there are parts of the sender-receiver relationship here that someone reads one way and says, what does that mean to me? It's a little bit different than what it means to somebody else. It's certainly a better document than what was considered a few weeks ago. Far better, far more modern. Could it be better? I would expect that from this point in time, the folks here would be tweaking it more frequently, adding to it. Like I said, everybody who would look at this document might choose a way that they might do it differently. However, in the realm of trying to work together, I think they've got something that's pretty good here that gets us away from the old document into a 2012 document, and it's good to see. It puts back, it takes away some of the things that were, in my mind, illegal in the old documents, and that just didn't work, in favor of something that is better suited to today's needs, that works for everybody. Does it still include, you know, the catch-all provision of the Rule 17 or 18, where the Commission reserves the rights to approve things on a case-by-case basis? Of course it does. But I think they've done the best they can to eliminate what didn't work and move towards a better solution. And for that, I think that everybody should be applauded that's done so quick. Will it change again? It could change the product of this meeting. Somebody points something out, sends an email to John or me or something like that. And that's good. So that said, I'm happy that we're to the point where we are, where we have a more constructive document to start working on. And I'm happy that they came through. It's not easy to put things to pen to paper to actually get something to be scrutinized by the public. All I would ask now is that people respect everybody else in terms of their own individual viewpoints, and like I said, try to move it along so that everybody gets a chance to see.
Okay. Who wants to be first?
Who wants to go?
Right. We're going to go ahead and raise your hand first. You can go.
I'm sorry, were you?
Go ahead.
Okay. I'm Maria Moore, and I have a website in town. I have a website in town, New Hartford Plus. Some of you may have gone on it, some of you may not know it. But during December, while I was on vacation playing, my husband put together some data from the 2010 census. And this hasn't been widely distributed in town. And I really think it's something very important for us all to be aware of. The change in the age of the population in the 10 years. So I have printed out, this is on New Hartford Plus, you're welcome to go there and print out a copy. I have here copies for every member of the commission. The only thing I didn't print out is that the black are the population numbers from 2000, and the colors are the population numbers from 2010. And if you take a look at this just a quick brief look, you will see that when I moved into town when I was 30, I was one of the young people with a baby. Okay, I now am with the 55 to 60 age group. Okay, and you will see from this chart, and I won't go through it one by one, but the population has changed tremendously, and I think a lot of the the conflict that we have seen over the last couple of months about the use of open space in the parks, whether it should be active recreation or passive recreation or both, or whether it should just be open space without any activity on it that would make any changes. I think it directly relates to this chart. There has been a change in our population. There are a lot more older people. The Bakerville School
Yeah,
is...
I'd have to ask you to kind of speed it up.
Okay, the Bakerville School is in the process of being closed because we don't have enough young children to fill the 3 schools. And that is a reality. They are meeting right now to do that, okay? In the meantime, the seniors are packed up here, wanting a building of their own, and not having even any funding for their commission to be able to take that on as a mission for themselves. So the parks are part of a much larger picture, and I would like you to keep this in mind. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. And your name?
Barbara Rogers, I'm in Hartford over 10 years. I don't live in that area, but what I saw in the letter that came to me had me actually quite infuriated. I haven't even been to that area for a while, but I've heard from my friends that live around there, and they're kind of disgusted right now. They said that as soon as football started there, that there's a whole lot more garbage, a whole lot more cars, and they can't walk there anymore. I'm way for a lot more open space, okay? And open space is basically multi-use. If you have full-time football there, I don't see how many more of us can use it. All right, and how many people in town have kids that are doing football or interested in doing football right there versus how many are interested in open space? Or walking their dog, or having some other event, okay? And what really infuriated me the most is that our selectmen, who should have been supporting the Recreation Commission recommendations, seem to be arm wrestling them into what he was right. And that's really upsetting. And that's basically what I want to say.
Thank you. Rick?
My name is Rick Bernanke. I'm co-president of Red Soccer, and I'm also the youth sports representative on the Brodie South Committee. Brodie South's got 150 plus acres. Football is practiced in their evenings on a portion of the land that's probably about 2 acres. I think that there's enough space and time there for everybody to have enjoy.
Hello, Matt. My name is John Harrison. I've been a resident of New Hartford since the late 70s. My wife and I are part of the senior citizen population, also part of the dog walking population. My wife recently was at Brodie Park walking the dog and was accosted and photographed by a member of the football group who told her she was violating the law by coming there.
Hi, my name is Dawn Erlington. I have young kids that aren't involved in football yet, but I do use the park as recreation. And I have to say that when my kids were younger, before football was even going on there, we used to do a cleanup day with me and some of our other friends. And since football has been there, there is less garbage. There used to be garbage collecting under those trees. They are cleaned up. And that is a very small area. We go in and we collect caterpillars during the time football's going on. There's still so much area for everybody to use. And I don't see football being a problem. Matter of fact, they're more conscientious. They're not destroying the area.
Let speak.
That's the way I feel. I use it as recreation.
Pete Polino. I am one of the coaches, volunteer my time for youth sports, not only football, but other youth activities in the area. In terms of any census studies, demographics, things like that, the proof is in the pudding. The kids are here. They need a place to play now. we're here. We're not going anywhere. We want to work with the groups that represent the parks, the town, what have you, to come to some sort of amicable agreement in terms of where our kids that are growing up now can partake in activities that are so beneficial to them. As a person that was involved with youth sports my whole life, lessons that I learned on the field, I carry with me to this day. It's a very, very important part of growing up and maturing, moving into adolescence and adulthood, learning about sportsmanship, learning about team play. There's a lot that, it's not just a bunch of kids out there running around and throwing football around. And if you don't see that, you're missing the intent of what this program has to offer to the kids of not only New Hartford, but some of the surrounding towns. I can emphasize, you know, I have empathy and I agree with, you know, the parks, and we don't want to leave our footprint there, and I've said this before. And we would be crazy to do anything that would blight the park systems, to wreck the resources that we have. The people that are involved with the youth sports, we all come from different towns. We find New Hartford a great town to raise our kids. We want to provide for our kids here. We're here. We're not going anywhere. We need a place for our kids to participate in sports.
Thank you.
Yes.
Karen, thank you, Senator.
I think we have that.
I'm calling from Louisville from the Pine Meadow section, and living with a park very dear to us right on our street, it's interesting to hear what is being said, because I really enjoy having the different events that are on the park in the Pine Meadow area. I have been very active over the years supporting youth sports in this town, and I am very much for the youth sports in that we have to have these kids staying here and continuing to keep this town like it is. We have to bring leadership, and we have to bring people that are going to stay here because it's a nice town. You know, I worked on the skateboard committee. We had so many complaints about that, it wasn't funny. You wouldn't believe what people were afraid of. I would like to see us expand and do something more for teenagers. There's little or nothing for them to do. It's much better to have them in organized sports than on the streets creating problems.
Somebody different.
I coach NewHartford football. My name's Pat Boston. I'm from a divorce couple, and this gives me a chance to find out who my kids are hanging around with. Every parent doesn't want their kids hanging around with the wrong kid. And if you see these kids day in and day out, you kind of pick up on it. You get to know that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lynn Grant, and my son played baseball in town. I agree with Rick. There's plenty of property up there that both the dog walkers, which I am now, because my son's not using the sports system. I just think that working in insurance, I see a little bit of insurance liability with those cars and the whole parking situation. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Stand up. You stood up.
Sharon Wilbur, New Hartford Beacon. I don't know if a lot of you know about it, but there's a lot of misinformation going on. And I wish everybody would stick to the truth. I do know something about the Harrison dog issue because my grandson was the one who was frightened to death when the dog came up to him. Unleashed. I think that probably a leash law would be a good thing. And I don't think that these kids are causing any problems at Brodie Park Stop. They're only there for a few hours a day in August, September, October, half of November, and they use lights only for a very short time. If this should be probably written in the rules. I hate it going by exception because exceptions can be taken away. That's all.
Thank you. Everybody was just up?
Hi, my name's Catherine Etter, and I live on West Hill Road, and I'm terrified of speaking publicly, so please bear with me. I do have young children. We have used all the parks. They do not play football, but we have used that field for dog walking quite often. It is a huge space, and there is room enough for everyone there. And the reason I'm standing here is because I want to speak to all of you on both sides of the issue, as well as the commission and Dan. I do agree it's an issue of the rules, but I truly believe that this is a larger issue of respect. I believe that we all are not respecting each other. I spent a couple of hours over the weekend reading everything in the Beacon and reading everything in New Hartford Plus. Now, I don't know how much of it is the truth or part of the truth or whatever. It was very enlightening. But what I heard was more like a neighbor dispute. That the neighbors who live close to Brodie Park South are being disturbed by football practice. They're being disturbed by noise, by lights, by cars, something that they weren't prepared for when they might have moved into those houses. Now, maybe I'm just asking that could we deal with this a little bit as a compromise between these neighbors, the neighbors of Brodie Park South, as it were, and I only live a mile from both parks. And granted, I don't hear the noise, but I have had my share of noisy barking dog neighbors, and I so sympathize with you that if you have those footballers there, and football practice is loud, I know it's loud. I mean, you've got the kids screaming, and I read a little bit about noise, music playing. And yes, if you're trying to have a quality of life in those 4 houses around that football practice every night for, 4 months, 5 nights a week, that is unacceptable to a neighbor. That's disturbing their quality of life that they deserve to have in this town. But you guys also deserve to have a place to practice football. This town has every right to have a football team if you've got the money to support it and the kids. I agree with everything that's been said in here so far, everything from both sides. But can we please try more to teach our children more respect for their neighbors and vice versa? We are all part of this town, and as John said at the very beginning, we want what's best for our town, what's best for our children in this town. At the same time, teaching them respect for their neighbors.
And I'll try to be brief. My son is here tonight, his name is Nico, and I will talk just only from where I can, which is my personal opinion. I'm a single mother, a very single mother, and when I came to the football 3 years ago, it became the ability for my son to see what it was to be an adult man. He learned respect and rules that at no other point had he been able to learn. So what brought into my life was this ability to say what I could not give my son, I was able to give it through the Wolverine football. In addition to that, I think community-wise, I've never had better friends, more support. This is how we make friends now as families. It's not so much block parties, it's not church, it is the sports, the youth sports that we have as individuals. That's where we meet the parents and we get to know each other growing up. As far as football as a sport, my son has played pretty much every sport. I don't know one that is more, I would say, because we do the national anthem every time we play a game, I would say it's a little bit more American in that direction. It has much more ability to teach respect, not only to players, but to the elders, to the actual individuals that are in charge. There's not a lot of places that work quite as well as at least this particular unit, the New Hartford Wolverines, and what they bring to these boys is second to none. And like I said, I can only speak from where I'm standing and who I am, but this was life-changing for me, and it was life-changing for my son. And if you can give us that 4 months, maybe there's something in our community we can do back for you, something, just speaking of a symbiotic relationship, where these boys at some point can be bringing to you something that has been as important as it's been to me. And I thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you. Sir.
My name's Jeff Rabick. I live right in the neighborhood. neighbors was to come to the rec commission and the football and to say, hey, we want to help you guys find a spot different, because it radically changes the nature of the neighborhood for prime summer months. And kids use recreation, or I should say different sorts of recreation are required for kids. Organized sports is not the only thing that would keep kids off drugs or any other thing that parents might not want their kids involved with. Walking through those fields, just walking alone, looking at caterpillars or the sky or whatever, it has the exact same effect for children. So as far as working with, we never ever heard of anything. And when we went to request our assistance to find another location, we were sat down and rejected. And there are clearly multiple other locations as we stand right now, ready to go and be used for football without conflict from anywhere.
Good evening. My name is Brent Keller. I'm with New Hartford Football. However, I'm involved with New Hartford Youth Sports and the community. Unfortunately, I think what's happening is this attack on football. And it should be all about youth sports and the use of that land there. I thank all those that are first coming for the rec commission meeting for the very first time, because you're passionate about something, whether what it may be. However, if you're new to this, there's some probably misinformation that you might have. One, it being in the town, Mr. Baranki already talked about, there's 19,000 of passive recreational area in the town. 19,000. For active recreation area, not including Brodie Park South, there's 100. 100 acres of acreage for youth sports, not football, baseball, soccer. Eventually there might be lacrosse. There are other youth sports. And that's not necessarily youth sports, that's adult sports, because it's active recreation. And it's something that we need to work on together as a group. As far as another thing that is misinformation about, our practices, our times. We're there from the summer from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock at night. Granted, it's 5 days a week in August. That's our training. That's what we do. Once school starts, we are there from 6 to 8. Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. Occasionally, sometimes we're there different times. We are not allowed, under rules, to practice over more than 10 hours a week for the kids. So practice are going 9 o'clock at night. Some other teams you hear about with all the different practices that we're always there, that is just not the case. So I just want to let all those people be aware of that. As far as the area is concerned, if you've ever been at Brodie Park South, it is a small confined area that we're at, with just acres behind where people are able to walk, enjoy. We'd love for you to come out and take a look at what's happening to the kids and the youth of our organization here, as far as them growing up and eventually being better community citizens and better men. And I feel, unfortunately, it's an attack on football, but it's not only an attack on football, it's an attack on youth sports. Because it's not just us that have the right to use that, it's other areas of the youth programs. Because that park, from what I understand, was encumbered for youth activity and recreational activity from day one. So whether it just happens to be us there, and we're taking the brunt of it, but don't forget there's other programs that would use that facility as well too. Thank you.
Anybody there?
Hi, my name is Bart Baxter. I have kids in football, but I've been in town for my life. My parents both served as first selectmen, and my mother was actually the responsible first selectman that bought Brodie Park. So I do have a history there. And I understand all the issues that people have. You know, there's two sides to this argument. But what I see is people drawing a line in the sand, and that is conducive to not coming to an agreement. What we need to think about is we have a situation now, and there may be differing opinions on whether there's fields available for football, but the fact of the matter is everything I've heard from the rec commission, who I have to believe know what they're talking about, there's not there's not those fields available for football. We have a situation where we're there now. Is Brodie Park South the ideal spot for football? I think everybody would agree, no, in the condition that it is right now. There's a parking issue, absolutely. There's no lights on the fields, and we have practice in the dark. But the fact of the matter is there's nowhere else to go. And what we need to do is have a discussion where everybody withdraws the lines and sits down and says, okay, here are my major issues. Parking, how often we have practice, and whatever other issues you have. And everybody's got to agree that when they leave the table, nobody's going to be perfectly happy, right? That's the sign of a good negotiation. If everybody leaves that table a little bit unhappy, that's a good job by all. So what you need to do is have representatives sit down and talk about it and say, listen, we don't have a situation now. Let's work to a situation in the future where we resolve this issue. Does Brodie Park South stay a football field? I don't know. And that's your job to decide. But the fact of the matter is there's nowhere else to do it now. So why don't you come up with an agreement that everybody's a little bit unhappy, but it's the best agreement for the greater good. So.
If we have time, we'll get to people that have already spoken. Hunter?
My name is Lance Fire. I'm one of the neighbors that is impacted by all of this. And to the board, thank you. To the chairman, thank you. To the members of the audience. I think the board needs to really look at this with a vision. Like, what is in the best interest of New Hartford for the long run? I think Brown's Corner is highly developed, but I think there's also room for it to take on some of youth football's needs. Whoever sent youth football to Brodie Park, I think made a mistake. To me, it's almost like putting a strip mall on the top of Town Hill. You have zoning for a reason. The zoning has been violated. And issues have come up because of that. There are liability issues. Playing on that field definitely is an issue. You know what it's like playing up there. Safety, with all the cars that park on the road, on the field, people coming and going, children coming and going. A lot of the activity does happen after dusk. Now, beach stickers cost $60. Sunset, you have to leave the beach. Now, unfortunately, I don't know why, youth football's got a special exception. They're allowed to play past that now. You know, there is that perception of unfair accommodations. The lights, the noise, those are all these issues. I think that Brown's Corner is very highly developed. I think it's a great place. Now, why football can't play there, I don't understand. I think since there's such an intense focus as to how football plays, I know you're not playing the whole field, you're pretty concentrated there, it gets a lot of abuse. Well, I think that needs to be worked out. You're not going to have the perfect field of dreams. And I know that even waiting, you know, this is temporary, we're hearing that also, it's temporary for you guys. I don't understand why Brown's Corner isn't available. Now, I know that New Hartford Elementary has a level playing field, and I know that you were accepted, you were able to go there. For some reason, that changed. Now, there's also a big level playing field behind Angelini at this point. I mean, there's a lot of space to practice. To say that there is nothing else besides Brodie Park South, I believe it's incorrect. Now, unfortunately, as you can tell by the tone, you know, it's a lot of us versus them. And we feel the same as you. We don't want it to be that way. I mean, there are certain elements, some people that are very passionate. Well, let's try to be rational about this. You know, we're all taxpayers. We all have concerns. So we want to be treated with deference. And thank you for taking the time to deal with this issue. It's not an easy issue. Thank you.
My name is Dale Martin. I've been in New Hartford for approximately 9 years. I have 2 children who are very involved in sports. I'm the new Sally O'Neill. I'm the current president of New Hartford Youth Baseball. As my mom always said to my brother and I, can you guys just get along? And I think I sense that we all want to get along. But perhaps we need to open, seconding what Bart said, it's the communication involved. Perhaps maybe some of you would like to come to one of our monthly meetings to find out what we're all about. And vice versa. Go to a meeting in Brodie Park South. With regard to demographics of, I understand, demographics, they're going to ebb and flow, and I completely understand that. And if we're on a lull, with the actual youth and talking about, closing one of our schools, what we have to consider too is, kids are playing more than one sport these days. Some kids play 3 sports in a season. So it almost makes that demographic, that number somewhat, not completely, but you have to consider that. As for playing space, Brown's Corner is a beautiful facility that's been provided to us by the town that we all should share, and I agree with you. But spaces, if you put football there, or whatever you put there, you're moving somebody someplace else. In Hartford Elementary, you put football there, you're moving there's soccer practices every night there in the fall. Sometimes 3 teams practicing soccer. Those 3 teams have to go somewhere. It is a complex issue, and I think we all want to resolve it. But I think football and the Rec Commission has made an effort to, due diligence to find an alternative location. And as my mother also said, patience is virtue. And I realize it sucks. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, but I think they've made an effort to really they want to move. I think football would agree. It's not the ultimate space for it, but for now it is what it is. And our space is completely. We're packed. We're completely packed. Same with Brown's Corner. Brown's Corner is utilized, almost 24/7, 6-7 days a week. Unfortunately, we need to communicate where we're both coming from. Perhaps, hopefully we can come to a better solution. That's what it is.
Anybody in the back? Right?
Chapin Park, there would be no skating, there would be no farmer's market, there would be no peach festival, there would be no Veterans Affairs on the park, because the only place to park is on the street. So you can't make a set of rules that's going to fit every park. Now, as far as the kids are concerned, what's wrong with it? You put up with a little inconvenience for a couple of months. My God, people, let's look out for the children!
just like to point out that in the flyers that Friends of Brodie Park South have sent out, there's a lot of misinformation. Football is a group of nice people that you can come to and talk to. If anyone has any questions about some of the conflicting information that was posted on there, we'd be more than happy to explain our side of what was posted as opposed to what's real. And in addition, anytime people have come to us with complaints about things that we've done or that we may be doing that they don't like, we do our best to accommodate it. We're not there to take over the facility so that nobody else can use it. We try to be good neighbors, do what we can to make it the most amicable situation for everybody involved.
Thank you. We're going to have two more. I'm going to go ahead. We'll extend it a little longer.
Okay, I'm Georgia Sturka. I'm Harvard Wolverines as well. And just to let everybody know, it's not just football. There are cheerleaders involved too. And I'd like to hopefully take responsibility for a lot of the noise that you're hearing, because that's what the girls do and that's our job. There's certainly a whole lot more noise. I live right on West Hill Road. I hear the music in the park from my house. I love it. It's great. It's a community event, and I'm excited that we have things like that. People park all the way up and down the streets during that. And I think that's fabulous, because that means there's so many people in our community utilizing these things and participating in it, and that's fabulous. I don't have an issue with that. I think it just shows that we have a good community and a lot of people utilizing it. So I think that, just as the gentleman had said, that there are tons of things that would be affected by this, the farmer's market and all that, if we make rules about parking and things like that. There's no place that accommodates everyone who wants to come to these events. And so are we going to limit the number of people? You get there faster, you don't get to come. I mean, it's just craziness that we're talking about. So I just, hope that everybody realizes it's not just the boys that are participating in these sports, the girls are participating as well, some of them even as football players. And so it's good for all of the youth in our surrounding areas.
Thank you. I'm going to do two more people. Maria's got 60 seconds, and then someone from youth sports can have 60 seconds to make it fair.
Okay. I wasn't going to say anything about this, but since Rick brought up years ago, Brown's Corner was a town park, okay, available to everybody. Now, Brown's Corner is an athletics sports complex that Monday through Friday pretty much lies empty. So I'd like to put that idea out there that, you want to have areas that you can use, but there are also areas that are not available to other townspeople that are reserved for sports when sports is not using them. Now, my originals, that was to Reggie, my original was, there's a lot of misinformation regarding what is available to football at this point. My understanding is, from going to various meetings, is that the Antolini fields behind the Antolini School have been made available to football for their use. Is that so? I'm putting it to you guys on the Rec Commission. Is that available for them to use as of this coming summer? And if not, why not? I've heard that the fields need improvements. They have been used the way they are for many, many years by many different sports for practice. So I just would like to put that to you. Thank you.
Yeah, just real quick, as far as our youth involvement, yes, we would love to go anywhere and help out the town. And Antolini, I know the Rec Commission has been actively looking at viable options for us to participate in. And yes, it's Brodie Park South, really just what we need right now, but it's our home, and this is where we're at because the town is looking actively to try to find it. As far as Antolini is concerned, I think looking at developing that would be great. Unfortunately, I think I did read in the Board of Finance minutes that on cuts that we're looking to look at, 2 cuts were made off the budget. One as far as development in Antolini, and also cut for $10,000 for the field house, which is not just football. The field house, I know they're trying to improve that for basketball. The town pays tons of money to have basketball teams in this town play elsewhere. So it's one, again, that agree with the rec. It's an ongoing problem that we
field house is not large enough to accommodate a basketball court. It's physically not large enough. So I don't want to start another rumor out there that something's happening that probably isn't.
If I may, I appreciate everybody's opinions, and I've sat and listened, and as a resident who's also the first selectman I do get a chance to speak also, is that during the entirety of everybody's proposal, I didn't hear once anybody mention the town and the Board of Selectmen's official position that we are putting money into the budget to expand Antolini Field into a more viable, similarly sized field space as what is being used now. The Board of Selectmen has special meetings. We've actually put money into the budget to say, hey, look, let's get behind the can-do attitude about providing a solution. Times are not the best. We've put $25,000 into the budget. The budget's not done yet. We've got to vote in May. But there's money there. It's always a difficult, stressful process of people finding out what they can afford in any one year. But the selectmen have gone, we've measured the competing options, considered the different locations, and we believe in our hearts that the least controversial, best location for football's future home is Antolini. We have backed that up with money in our budget to make it a priority. Can we magically make it appear in a month or two? Look, it's taken me 2 years since I've been here to get rid of the sand dunes at Brown's Corner, but I think if you look at the success we've had at Brown's Corner, and hopefully we're going to have a nice get-together down there this summer to have a rededication, if people look at that and say, you think Dan and the selectmen can get the job done? I think Brown's Corner says that we can. And I think we got new roof on the field house and we're working towards fixing that, and I think that says we can. And I think if we put the money and people support it, and it makes it through the final process of the Board of Finance and through to the vote, I think we can. But when you talk about doing something this summer, if we are doing the we can do attitude, there's going to be some heavy machinery up there, there's going to be some fencing, some trees going down, and maybe some blasting. I didn't hear anybody say that the town has a plan. The selectmen, Alicia Kennerson, Jack Casey and myself have unanimously agreed. There is a vision for the future that says we can find a less controversial home. It won't solve all the needs. Soccer practices at Antolini 4 nights a week. So I'd like people to keep it in their mind that there's a proposal out there. If you like the permanent solution, when you go to vote, think about that. Okay? You know it's a complex issue. There's more to it. Everybody has their threshold for ability to pay what the proposal is, but there is a plan out there that is endorsed by the selectmen, and I hope everybody understands that we're working on a solution so that hopefully both sides can be happy, but it won't come in a month or two. It's going to take a little time.
Okay. Appreciate all your comments. It is important to hear you and what you have to say. What we're going to do now is we are going to get into the rest of our meeting, which we will first go over the new rules and regulations, which is the next part of the meeting. So if you just give us a few minutes, what I'd like to do is put the tables in a U shape if we could, so that at least the commission members can see each other. I'm sorry?
Are there copies available for the public?
We do. I don't know if we have 100 of them, but we've got some copies, so you're all going to have to share. Okay. It'll get posted by tomorrow morning, I'm sure.
Maybe people can share with their neighbors.
Out of 50 weeks, there's 12 months in a year, that's 5 applications a month. I think this committee can probably handle that when necessary.
You know,
That's the philosophy behind that.
We're sensitive to all these activities that happen, obviously. All we're trying to do is, I mean, everybody pretty much knows where people are going to be and the events that are going to happen and the time they're going to happen. All we're trying to do is organize this and structure it as best we can. We're trying to, you know, and Dan will tell you, and Rich will tell you, and Christine will tell you, that P&Z has changed dramatically. I mean, anything we do has to go through P&Z. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to be as flexible as we can, but also set organization and structure for the use of the parks is what we're trying to do.
What John and I have talked about, and I know your feelings on it, is at some level, creating a list of currently approved group activities that would come. Because the problem is that from an enforcement standpoint, who knows who's got what approvals to do what? And it doesn't, I first thought about this, we talked about with Dennis of maybe having an asterisk at the bottom that the current approved uses include Hartford Day, race around the lake, big wheels, lines, you know, the whole thing. All the special. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but at least some document of something that comes into town hall that says, to the best of our knowledge, these are the current exemptions that fall under the catch-all Rule 18. Scout campers.
I mean, those are staples of the community. Those are things that happen all the time, and they should happen, and they should be given, you know, obviously precedent. And I can tell you that our big man on the corner there has his calendar, and I dare any of you to take New Hartford Day away off his calendar. So, I mean, we are sensitive to all those things, and they will be locked in one way or another because they are important to the entire community, and that's what this is all about. So, any changes on that? Infractions of the regulations may result in loss of privileges. You know, it's there to try to dissuade or you know, have some kind of a threat over people's heads. You know whether or not I can arrest anybody, we certainly can report them. I'm sure there's some kind of enforcement behind this. You know, and loss of privileges, you may loss of your beach pass, etc. You know, we have to have something in there that has some kind of flaw to it. That's why that's there. That was in the last one. Number 20 was in the last one. Obviously, we want little kids running around, you know, playscape just hanging out. Open fires are prohibited unless authorized. That is, you know, the Cub Scouts, they have a ceremony every year where they light a candle. You know, we should let them continue. I don't see why we shouldn't. But again, they're prohibited unless authorized. You know, you have the beach area where you got barbecues, the grills are set up. Makes sense, the grills are there, it's authorized as far as I'm concerned. Callahan Park has a few barbecue pits. So those are considered authorized. Just to go in and build a fire is not. And last but not least, and this is a new one, all park usage must be in conformity with all other boards, commissions, and regulations as they properly apply. That's kind of a catch-all too. You know, we need to involve P&Z. We need to involve the police department. We need to involve other groups of town. You know, the board of selectmen. You know, whatever makes sense. We need to be sure that we're structured and that we're organized. You know, the Chapin Park situation with the farmers market. I mean, that's a classic case. We took out the parking on the street. We took that out. You know, so that kind of eliminates an issue there. And you know, it's got to go to P&Z. That's in here. You know, you have to go to the local commissions and local boards. So this kind of protects the town, and it also protects the groups that are going to use the facilities as well. Safety is a huge issue. It just is. You know, Brown's Corner. You know, you can look back at the minutes of our meetings from 7, 8 years ago, maybe even longer. One of the reasons why that park was changed was because of the safety issue that was pressed by the Recreation Commission. You had people parking on the streets, and you know, and I understand the situation with Brodie Park South, and it's all going to be discussed whichever way we go. But safety is a huge concern of this commission. It's a huge concern of the town. And when we have farmers market, the police are going to be involved. What you can and what you can't do. And this lady over here happens to be half of the group that designs it. So, that's why that's there, just in case we miss something.
Parking looks great.
Parking looks great at Browns.
It's done.
That's it. Any questions? Hold on, did you rewrite that?
Sorry?
Did you rewrite that?
Still
All right.
still a little bit late.
All right. Well, for the sake of time here, why don't we change this a little bit? Anybody suggestions how we can change it around, different wording? What I'd like to do is I'd like to get this in tonight if we can. We can change the wording a little bit. We've made notes on it, which we will change in the morning. But I would like to at least pass these rules and regulations tonight, unless you all disagree, because it's better than what we have. It's a lot.
Just add volleyball courts and skate park in parentheses with tennis courts and basketball courts for now. I think now that's what you're going to think about.
That's fine.
It broadens it to address a couple more of the facilities that you're trying to cover. And you realize that it's not perfect where it is now. It's close.
Yeah, so you want to have athletic facilities out?
And specifically, leave it in, but I would just say in the parentheses, you've got tennis courts, basketball courts, I would add volleyball courts in the skate park. And then anything else that we'll look at?
These are, again, we'd like to get these in force. If we have to tweak them, we have to tweak them. Nothing is perfect, and we can change these as we move on and times change. Any more discussion on any of these? Anybody want to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to accept the 2012 rules and regulations for all New Hartford parks as submitted to this commission.
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? Congratulations, guys. I think this is a big thing for the town. It's in the town's best interest, and that we can do. At this point, we go on to our normal meeting, which is basically Dennis. Take a couple minute break, guys. You're welcome to stay if you want. You can hear our financial report, you can hear whatever you like. We've got about another 15-20 minutes or so. Yeah, that'll give us a pretty good idea. Yeah. 50 people. How many is it? You can't do either make them aware or put in parking is available for approximately 75 cars.
But if my thought on it is simply that if New Hartford Day knows that they're going to park. And most event organizers are going to know that they need to use the field in front of the field house also for parking.
They end up parking out in shelter for the Lions coach, for the flea market, right?
Right.
I mean, they're on that small baseball field.
Right, so even after you utilize all the because we need to approve designated parking if it's going to be larger than the existing parking lot.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I think up front, we should know that they're going to use the parking in front of the field house, the softball court, and maybe even the little baseball.
So they're a designated overflow.
Right, so that we can say
providing the grounds are capable of painting, you get wet weather, stay that crop.
Yeah.
At least the field, I mean, quite a field out, make a mess.
If you're going to need parking greater than with the
gravel
area.
I still think we should have an idea as to how many people are going to be attending these functions.
Did we say something about alcohol?
Number of guests and will alcohol be served. Yes,
That's good.
Next, we talked about painting the hall.
John, is there any possibility we should include insurance coverage, being part of some big, large one?
That's on there.
That's on there, right? Certificate of insurance.
Yep, it's right on there.
Next, we talked about painting the hall. We got a couple of quotes here. 3 quotes.
$33 to $45 to $28.
It's a paper.
Or fussy.
All right, what do we at? We got 3?
We got 3 right here.
33, 45, and 28. We do a comparison on these. Are we doing the same thing, or are they somebody cutting out half the building?
All doing the same thing. The only thing we didn't add was the bathrooms, and
which ones?
No, they didn't add the bathrooms, the 2 bathrooms.
Well, in part, we have to wait for funding for this, because this is scheduled for the upcoming budget.
No local contractors were interested?
We called them, they didn't call back. We called a few, a couple in town. Bakerfield?
What's his name again? What's the Slipper Dan? Slipper Dan. Slipper Dan.
Brett.
Yeah, Brett.
No, that's, I know what you're talking about. That's, I think his dad ran youth baseball before you did.
Kelly? There's a guy named Kelly.
Oh, Kelly's.
Jerry didn't bid it? Jerry didn't want to bid it?
He didn't call back.
No, he's doing a pattern making big.
Pattern?
He's one of the few pattern makers available in the state.
Wow.
I mean, he demands probably $65, $75, $100 an hour.
What does that mean, pattern?
Before a foundry piece is cast, it has to be made out of wood, metal, something. And he makes the pattern, and then from that pattern they make the molds and cast it. Or machine too.
Let's go over these a little bit more closely. I'm looking at these and somebody obviously. Yeah, I mean, some of these are. I mean, they're all kind of doing the same thing, but some of these guys are doing a little bit extra. Yeah, I think let's I mean, that's not gonna happen until July, right? We can table that until next time, but let's take a look at these though. And it'd be nice if we get some local guys and, at least give us bids on this.
I'll get a couple more, do it next month, I'll get a couple more. Next, we talked about changing over from the brochure to going online. And these are just some comments from different rec departments on the switch over, on the changeover, once they went from brochure to online.
Well, we're all about saving money, guys.
You talked to Dave, his last name is Gallo.
Dave Gallo.
Dave Gallo.
Okay.
That's Flipper Dave.
No, that's not Flipper. Flipper Dave is Brett Connor.
Guitar player and cotton.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not arguing.
No, I know who you're talking about.
Interesting
He
comment.
painted the exterior.
When we use a reminder newspaper to do our brochure, it's no cost.
Everybody done with those?
Yeah.
All right. Next, finance.
We got a lot of comments.
Yeah. We got a few more months left in the year. There may be a few line items that may be compromised a little bit, but I think there'll be some other line items that we'll finish, I think, in the black totally, but there'll be some other line items that may be compromised a little bit. In the program account, you see the balance there, and once we get this out next week, the brochure should be in the mail next week, and we'll start getting some money in. In correspondence, these are just some of the emails that came in. I think a lot of you guys already.
One more comment about the program account, guys. It's the most we've had in a program account going into this time of year than we've ever had. It's generally anywhere from like $2,000 to $6,000 to $7,000. We got 15,000, so good job.
Correspondence. A lot of you guys have gotten these emails, and you probably heard a lot of the same thing tonight. So just some emails from concerned citizens about Brodie South.
Actually, I did. I did get several, and did too, and all you folks got copy and paste emails. But actually, I got 3 or 4 people that sat down and wrote emails just out of their heart. And it's and as I've mentioned before, every one of them had the best interest of the town at heart. Yeah, they disagreed with some things, but, they sat down and took the time, and, we responded to them. Some of us responded to them, which one of them came up to me earlier this evening and said, I appreciate you emailing me back. I mean, he took the time, so it was good that we responded to him.
Right. Last 2 things, talk about the brochure. This is just a draft. I think we made a lot of corrections and edits. And yep, we got those. I think everybody made some edits, and we're gonna, like I said, should have this in the mail next week. As well as we talked about the software going online. So as soon as we get this out next week, that should be ready to go also.
I think we gotta, have a balance, as it says, we gotta have a balance between online and have it still available to the public, obviously.
Paul, you were going to talk to the software guy to get your questions answered.
Yeah. It turns out what you're paying for is a custom design website. They have a standard design, and I think that they, on the email that we originally got from them, they have designated towns which you can see their standard site, and then I think Avon is a standard site, and then Simsbury is a custom site. The difference is this: if you go custom, you have to pay extra $500 up front, and then you have to pay an extra $300 every year after that. So I asked them, if we're asking you to custom design our site and we're paying you $500 to do it, why are we paying an extra $300? And if it's maintenance, if you're saying a custom site is $300 a year for us to keep it up in a custom fashion, why are we paying $500 up front? It doesn't make sense that we're front loading and then paying an extra $300. Well, the difference is this. On their standard site, up in the upper left-hand corner, it has their name. If you do a custom site, their name is taken off. They're going to charge you $300 a year not to have their name up there. That's what that's for. So I asked them the first logical question, well, if you custom design a site for us, I mean, you know, if we want something custom, could we just not have your name up there? And he said, no, that's not an option. If they custom design a site, they take their name off, you pay $300 a year for the privilege of not having their name on your website. And the only difference between a custom site and your standard site, basically is the color scheme. Maybe, you know, it's aesthetics. I don't know, if you guys want to pay an extra $500 up front, $300 a year, then, you know, I say go for it, but, you know, let's see, I mean, Avon site would fine to me, and its functionality is everything that you need. It's just a matter of aesthetics, and they're
Doesn't make sense to me, they,
But I'm not
they're
clear
taking their
about
name
these.
off. I don't care if the
Why-
name's on it. One would think it would be
Why-
colors.
the heading, you know, how your name is, you know, what font, you know, how you want it arranged, if you want New Hartford. I couldn't even, I mean, you just have to, again, what you have to do is go out to the Avon site and also the Simsbury site and see the difference between the two. But mostly it's color schemes, like I said, fonts, maybe how you want certain things, again, placed on the page.
I can't see paying for that.
Any more discussion on it?
I make a motion that we have the contract restructured to eliminate the custom site fees. What's that? On the website.
Second? All in favor of that? Aye. Save the money. Thanks, Paul, for your research. Appreciate it.
No, you get a percentage of that.
Absolutely.
After we do it.
Yeah.
You're a new man.
1.5 cents per.
Hey, you ever send this out to any other rec commissions?
Yeah, I do. I mail them out to a couple of other rec departments.
You get any extras? You might want to. It makes us look pretty good.
All right, I'll send those out. The last thing I have is that warm weather pastime here in New Hartford, vandalism. I'm not sure if Dan want to put some more money in the budget for bathrooms, because I don't think we have enough. Here's some of the things that have been going on. On the beach, we had somebody, you know, put a box on the beach and do a number 2 right in the box. The lifeguard shed, somebody did one of those tubes and threw it into the lifeguard, broke out the window, I think, and threw it into the lifeguard shed. And the changing rooms, we usually lock the changing rooms, so I don't think there's any need to lock it now because they keep breaking the locks off. And they did a 2 in there. I think a couple of weeks ago there was a stolen car, and the cameras, I don't know what happened after that, but there was a stolen car left in the park, and one of the troopers came up and he looked at the camera, and I think he may have seen something. I don't know. You know, Dan, anything?
Yeah, I don't really want to say too much about it.
Okay. But that's what happened.
The cameras provided valuable.
So they're paying off. Camera's paying off.
Yeah, now I can say.
Camera's paying off.
Good.
Another thing, that the skate park, the skate park, we need to repair the fence. The fence is pretty busted up over there. And there's a little graffiti on some of the equipment inside. But we need to repair the fence. I'll get the fence company.
Is there any maintenance accounts left behind on the skate park group?
Any maintenance?
Yeah, maintenance, meaning any money left in an account that any repairs needed in the first 5 years?
No.
Somebody set aside?
Did they rebuild, they were gonna rebuild that fence, right? Because the first time it wasn't, did they do, is this the new fence that's been damaged, or they didn't get around to fixing it?
Yeah, they did a little something to it, but it's just, you know, kids, crashing into it, doing these high risk maneuvers, crashing into the fence.
Is that,
some of them just straight, just trying to tear the fence down.
is that committee still together?
There's a committee, I think, Wendy Finn.
Could, I'm wondering if she has any contacts left to find out what other towns are doing to minimize the normal wear and tear on fences. Maybe there's, you know, like you found the product for the basketball court to shield it from the community. Maybe there's a product that other communities use in skate parks to minimize normal wear and tear.
Security guard.
He doesn't really want me to answer that, does he?
Why don't we give Wendy Finn a call and just ask if there's any kind of money's left. I seriously doubt it.
Well, she came to us for money last year. So
Well, with or without the money, if she has the contacts to find out if there is a product available, then we could price it and ask the selectmen, you know, depending on what it is, and see if we can fit it in the budget somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for the money from that, but they may have the contacts to find out. We certainly don't.
Yeah, call her and ask her, and obviously get estimates on this.
Have we considered adding any surveillance in the problem areas? More surveillance?
We talk about the beach. Well, it'll cost a lot of money to do that. Need electricity down there, so we're talking thousands.
Yeah, I mean,
But how much does it cost us to repair this? I mean, you may be, like, okay, let me just follow up on that. It may cost you thousands to install, and I'm just saying, whatever it is, but how much on a cost relative basis does it cost us to fix the broken locks and the doors and the...
And stuff at the skate park, where you could get something there.
I don't know.
The only reason I'm asking is because maybe the security, whoever we deal with now, you know, the cameras that the game guys use and all that stuff, those are all motion and battery operated. So I just, might be worth a try. It doesn't require
I'll check something out.
Doesn't require electricity.
I know the last time we looked at it, the guys talked about electricity down. It was, I think it was 20,000 or somewhere up there.
But you know what I mean about those cameras that people put out for wildlife?
Yeah, hunters.
Battery operated, and motion.
We got a couple.
you know, it's all awareness, and, you know, the fact that, you know, what Dan just said, that there's information that can help us, you know, get the person that stole the car. I mean, you got, once that stuff gets publicized, it'll prohibit some, you know, some kids from doing some damage, you know, and the more people that the cameras we have catch, the better off we're gonna be. You know, Sally's question is it, you know, cost effective to do something down at the beach, so if all you gotta do is catch a few kids, or catch a few people, and that'll dissuade a lot of people from doing damage. I mean, it just will. I mean, yeah, is there another way? Is there a less?
Yeah, I'll check with the camera guy and see what it is.
See what he says.
Wildlife.
You know, because we've got to stop this. It's just continues, and continues and continues. So.
And it's early yet.
Yes.
Yeah, no. But the weather.
Anything else?
That's all I have.
Any more discussion? We set a timetable of 9 o'clock about 9 years ago. We came there. Sorry. Hey, guys, thank you very much. Good job. You know, what you did tonight, I think, is helpful. Everybody contributed, everybody at this table, and I thank you all. And let's move forward.
Thank you, John.
Good job.
Excellent.
Oh, sorry. Motion adjourned.
Yes, second.